The story begins with Yuichiro, a young boy who once lived peacefully with his parents. However, his life takes a dark turn when his father, having lost his sanity, tries to kill him with a knife. Terrified, Yuichiro escapes the house, only to find the dead bodies of his friends lying outside, a horrifying sight that leaves him in shock. Before he can react, his father catches up and stabs him from behind. Believing Yuichiro to be dead, the man leaves. But Yuichiro survives, manages to escape, and eventually ends up in an orphanage. At the orphanage, Yuichiro meets many children, but one boy named Mika stands out. From the moment they meet, Mika extends a hand of friendship, even though Yuichiro considers himself extremely unlucky and is hesitant to get close to anyone. Over time, however, the two form a strong bond. Yuichiro starts to feel a sense of peace, but that calm doesn't last long. A strange and deadly disease begins to spread throughout the city, a plague that mysteriously kills anyone who is 13 years or older. Amid the chaos, a mysterious group arrives in the city. They are not ordinary humans, they are vampires. As people begin dying suddenly, Yuichiro and the other younger children flee back to the orphanage, only to discover that their caretaker has already been killed. Soon after, the vampire group arrives and captures all the remaining children. They are taken to a large, prison-like underground facility where they are kept alive and well-fed, but only until they turn 13. At that point, their blood is harvested. For 4 long years, Yuichiro and the others are imprisoned, treated like cattle. One day, Yuichiro witnesses a disturbing scene, vampires stepping on a child and ignoring his cries. Furious, he tries to intervene but is beaten and thrown aside. Mika tries to help but is too small to stop them. Just then, a high-ranking vampire known as Prince Ferret arrives. He has taken a particular liking to Mika's blood and invites him to his mansion. Mika agrees to go, but only on the condition that Yuichiro is spared. That night, the children are given a rare, lavish meal, a clear sign that Mika has sacrificed a significant amount of blood for them. Later that night, Mika returns and reveals to Yuichiro that he didn't go just to save him. He also found something important, a gun and a map that shows a possible escape route. The two quietly wake the others and begin planning their escape. Moving silently through the underground corridors, they initially make progress. But as they reach unfamiliar territory, they become unsure of their next move. Suddenly, Prince Ferret reappears, blocking their path. To their horror, Ferret reveals that the entire escape route was a trap, his own twisted game. He had deliberately let them believe they could escape, only to crush their hope at the last moment. Smiling cruelly, he tells them he simply wanted to give them a taste of freedom, just to snatch it away. Ferret wasn't just a vampire prince, he was a sadist who took pleasure in tormenting children. In front of everyone, he picked up a little girl and began drinking her blood, refusing to stop until she died in his arms. Witnessing this horrific act, Yuichiro was overcome with rage. Without thinking, he pulled out his gun and fired at Ferret. But the vampire prince was too fast. He dodged the bullet effortlessly. Smirking, Ferret began slaughtering the rest of the children one by one. Only one girl survives, Akane, who is Yuichiro's crush, but Ferret brutally kills her as well. Enraged and desperate, Mika snatched the gun from Yuichiro and charged at Ferret, trying to avenge Akane. But Ferret swiftly overpowered him too, slamming Mika to the ground and leaving him severely wounded. As Mika lay there, barely conscious, Yuichiro picked up the gun again. He circled around and, from another angle, took a precise shot, this time hitting Ferret directly in the head. The bullet struck true, killing the vampire prince instantly. Mika, though still alive, was in no condition to move. Yuichiro tried to carry him, but Mika insisted he stay behind. He warned Yuichiro that if he came along, he would slow him down, and they would both be caught. Though it tore him apart inside, Yuichiro agreed and left his best friend behind. He escaped through a hidden path and eventually found himself falling from a cliffside into a vast, snow-covered landscape. Bruised and exhausted, he was approached by 3 strangers. One of them looked at him curiously and said, "Looks like you made it out alive. If you help us, we can take down many of those vampires." Yuichiro said nothing at first. Instead, he stepped forward and embraced the man. With quiet determination in his voice, he declared, "I'll kill every last one of those vampires, no matter what it takes." And that is where the real story begins. Years passed. Yuichiro joined the man's group and became a vampire hunter. He trained hard, growing stronger, faster, and sharper. In the present, he is seen in the middle of a fierce battle against terrifying monsters. But soon, the scene shifts, and we find him walking through the gates of a mysterious military school, his next destination, and the next chapter in his journey. He had just been punished for breaking the rules. This school was built for hunters. If they break the rules, they're sent here. Yuichiro was fooling around even here, which is why the instructor threatened to suspend him. But Yuichiro wanted to get suspended. It would give him a chance to go out and fight monsters. However, a girl named Shirnoa, sitting behind him, tells him not to make such a mistake. Suspension would mean staying here even longer. There's only one way Yuichiro can lift his suspension, by making a friend. Now we're shown a past scene where Yuichiro met 3 people. One of them reveals he's the head of the demon army and their mission is to eliminate vampires. His name was Guren. He offered Yuichiro to join them, and Yuichiro agreed. In the present, Yuichiro is thinking that Guren is a fraud. He joined him to kill vampires, but now he's stuck in school and hasn't even killed one yet. Shirnoa tells him that if he wants to get out of suspension, he'll have to make a friend, even if he doesn't want to. Yuichiro insists he wants to talk to Guren and remind him that he wants to fight vampires, not make friends. But Shirnoa shows him a letter from Guren, explaining that to become a vampire hunter and leave, he must first make a friend. School ends, and while they're heading back, Yuichiro sees a boy from his class, Yoichi, being bullied. He wants to help, but Shirnoa warns him that fighting would also break the rules. As a result, Yoichi gets beaten up, but Yuichiro takes him away afterward. Yuichiro asks why they were hitting him. Yoichi says he wants to join the demon army because vampires killed his sister and he wants revenge. But he's weak, and that's why a boy named Yamanaka was hitting him. Yuichiro says, "Yeah, you really are weak." Just then, they hear an explosion. A vampire has appeared. Yuichiro sees this as a golden chance to kill one. He had hidden some weapons, takes them out, and rushes into the classroom. There, a vampire girl is about to drink a girl's blood. Yuichiro steps in and saves her. Yamanaka, who was earlier hitting Yoichi, is also there, now terrified. Yuichiro fights the vampire, even cuts off her hand, but she heals quickly. He keeps attacking, but she keeps healing. Her energy runs low, so she again tries to attack the same girl. Yuichiro blocks her again, but this time the vampire grabs him and jumps out the window. While falling, Yuichiro stabs her with his sword, but she tells him she's immortal. Just then, Guren arrives and kills her with a special cursed blade that can destroy vampires. Yuichiro begs Guren to take him with him, but Guren says he must first make a friend. At that moment, Yoichi jumps in from above, landing on Yuichiro and knocking him out. Shirnoa arrives and tells Guren that Yuichiro has already made a friend, fulfilling the condition. Later in the hospital, it's confirmed. Yuichiro has been accepted into the Moon Demon Army, and Yoichi can join too as his friend. The next day at school, Yuichiro meets the girl he saved. She tries to give him a letter but runs away before he can read it. Shirnoa teases him about it. Yuichiro asks, "If I've joined the demon army, why am I still in school?" Shirnoa explains his training isn't over yet. She talks about the vampire extermination unit and shows him a key that transforms into a weapon. She says he'll get a weapon like that too. Yuichiro tries to take her weapon by force but learns he can't use someone else's. These weapons are bound to their users and obey only them. Still, Yuichiro fights her to test his strength, but nothing he does works. Shirnoa isn't even using her full power. Later, they meet Yamanaka again. He apologizes and says they need help. His third teammate has gone into the Forbidden Chamber. Shirnoa explains that it's where the vampire extermination unit trains new recruits, but it's dangerous. It's filled with demon spirits. Despite warnings, Yuichiro rushes there. Shirnoa explains that only those with demon power can go in safely, otherwise, they'll be possessed. That's what happened to Yamanaka's friend. Yuichiro enters anyway and tries to take a special demon weapon by force. As he grabs it, he's pulled into a vision of the past, of his orphanage and his friend Mika. Mika offers him power to kill all vampires. But Yuichiro resists and breaks the illusion, returning to reality. Shirnoa and Yoichi are relieved he's okay. Yuichiro asks to keep the weapon, but Shirnoa says Gyurin must authorize it. Still, because he proved himself, he's now allowed to train in the Forbidden Chamber. In another city, a monster is attacking people. Mika appears and kills it. We learn he's become a vampire. More vampires arrive and offer protection to the human, in exchange for their blood. People agree, including a small girl who reminds Mika of his past. A flashback reveals that after Yuichiro escaped, 3 people came to kill Mika. But Queen Krull arrived, saw Mika dying, and said she wanted him. She gave him her blood, turning him into a vampire. Back at school, Yuichiro bumps into a hot-headed boy who punches him. Yuichiro doesn't fight back. Later, when Yoichi and Shirnoa ask about his injury, he doesn't explain. In class, Gyurin gives a speech. The same boy who hit Yuichiro is sitting in his seat and they fight. Gyurin beats them both up and throws them away, saying not to fight in class. Later, a new instructor arrives to test them. They must form pairs and fight robotic monsters. Everyone gets a partner except Yuichiro, who ends up with Kimizuki. During the battle, Kimizuki finds out his sister is critically ill in the hospital. Yuichiro scolds him for staying and tells him to go to her. At the hospital, the doctor says her condition is stable but the virus is spreading. Later, Yuichiro and Kimizuki are tied together as part of the exercise, which forces them to spend the day together. This helps them bond and become friends. The next day, Yuichiro attacks Gyurin and demands a vampire-killing weapon. Gyurin agrees, then immediately knocks him out. When Yuichiro wakes up, he thinks Gyurin was joking. But Shirnoa reassures him Gyurin never breaks promises. In class, both Yoichi and Kimizuki request weapons. Gyurin hits them and tells them to first control their emotions. Then he asks the instructor if anyone qualifies for the weapon test. She says Yoichi does. He's unaffected by demon spirit energy. To test them, Gyurin activates his sword. Most kids faint. Only a few remain standing, including Yoichi. These kids are taken for the final test. Gyurin notes that Yoichi is weak and inexperienced, but if he can control a demon, he'll be a great asset. The test area is filled with demon heads. Gyurin warns that any mistake will lead to possession. Yuichiro faces a demon who offers him power in exchange for control. He refuses. The demon binds him and shows visions of his friends telling him to accept the offer. But Yuichiro breaks free. The demon introduces herself as Shiramaru and says she likes him now. She agrees to give him her power, but under one condition: he must kill every vampire he sees. Yuichiro agrees. If he fails, Shiramaru will take control of his body. He accepts the deal. He wakes up and finds Kimizuki has also tamed his demon. Meanwhile, Yoichi meets his sister in his dream, who is actually his demon. She tells him he's too weak to avenge her and offers him power. Yoichi, terrified, agrees and becomes possessed. When Yoichi wakes up, he's no longer in control. Gyurin says they must eliminate him. Yuji was attacking them relentlessly, but Yuichiro and Kimizuki managed to block his strikes. They were his friends, after all. They didn't want to hurt him. During the intense battle, Yuichiro suddenly throws his sword aside. Yuji, now aiming his special weapon straight at him, is ready to strike. But Yuichiro, full of confidence, doesn't move an inch. His unwavering trust shakes something in Yuji, and then, just like that, Yuji snaps back to his senses. He's normal again. Overwhelmed, he runs to Yuichiro and hugs him tightly. Right then, Gyurin walks in and kicks Yuichiro, scolding him for throwing away his weapon in the middle of a fight. Then he turns to Yuji and tells him bluntly, "You need to get stronger. You'll never survive against vampires like this." Gyurin also knows about Yuichiro's recurring dreams. As Yuichiro gets up, Gyurin tells him, "You have to forget your old friends now. These new comrades, They're your family. Soon after, we learn that vampires have been spotted in a nearby city. The team sets out the next day, boarding a train for their first official mission. On the journey, Yuichiro asks Shirnoa, "Why are you always following me around?" She coolly replies, "I've been assigned to keep an eye on you, to make sure you don't mess up. You have a dangerous obsession with killing vampires." Remember, eventually, they arrive at their destination, where they reunite with Kimizuki and Yuji. There, a new girl joins them, Mitsuba, who's also been added to their team. But as soon as Mitsuba learns that Shirnoa has been made the team leader, she's furious. She challenges Shirnoa to a fight, wanting to test her strength. Just as things heat up, Guren appears and stops them both, warning, "If you two pull this stunt again, there will be consequences." Guren then introduces Mitsuba to the team, explaining that every vampire hunting unit consists of 5 members. The goal is to defeat vampires using teamwork, so that no one dies in vain. But Yuichiro couldn't care less. "I just want to find some vampires and kill them already," he says. Mitsuba doesn't like his attitude. She suddenly lunges at him, but Yuichiro grabs her legs mid-attack, stopping her. "Why the hell are you attacking me?" he asks. "I just wanted to test your reflexes," she smirks. Guren, once again stepping in as the voice of reason, reminds them, "Going in and killing vampires blindly is foolish. We're here to rescue human servants, not start a war. Only fight if absolutely necessary."